although she was only ever mean and cruel to people who were lower in the company's hierarchy than her. Her favorite thing in the world to do was to fire people, though, and she would go out of her way to find reasons to let people go, which meant that I had to always be vigilant to never screw up, so that she never had a reason to target me. But I always bit my tongue and kept smiling, because I knew that she was only doing so that she could claim that I was a terrible employee, which of course I wasn't. There was even one day when some important paperwork was misplaced and she tried to blame me for it.
Kim, where is the Peterson file?
I placed it in your inbox last night, before I went home for the day. Perhaps you misplaced it or the cleaning staff moved it aside.
Stop lying, Kim. You people are always so quick to blame someone else. I honestly don't know why you were hired. Your kind are just so dishonest. It's a wonder how they haven't caught you stealing or even sleeping on the job yet.
I would never do such a thing.
Your kind always does. It's only a matter of time before you show how much of a thief you are. Well, don't you get too comfortable.
I can assure you that I'm not a thief. There were even times that she would say racial slurs to me in hopes that I would talk back to her. Hi there, my name is Kim, and I'm in a bit of an ethical problem. We've all been in situations where we've been faced with a difficult choice, whether to do the right thing or to just keep our noses out of something. Well, I'm in just such a situation, and I could really use some advice. In order for you to fully understand, I do need to tell you a bit of a long story, but bear with me. You see, it all started about 10 years ago. I had recently moved from the Jamaica where I was born to America, and while I had gone to school back home, no one wanted to hire me because I was fresh to the country. However, I did end up getting an entry-level position at a company that was near to my house. It wasn't anything special, but it was a paycheck, and I knew that if I worked very hard, that I could over time move up in the company and eventually join management and do very well for myself. To start with, though, I was just an assistant for a low-level manager named Deborah. Deborah was very cruel, and if it had been her choice, she would not have hired me. The first day that I worked for her, she kept looking for reasons to fire me because she hated immigrants.
Kim, where is my coffee?
It's right here on your desk in this thermos. I wanted to make sure that it was kept hot so that you could enjoy it at your leisure.
Fine, but what about lunch? You better not have them deliver it a minute later than noon. I hate having to wait around to eat.
That is not a problem at all. I confirmed that the delivery will arrive a few minutes before noon, and I will greet the delivery man at the front door and bring it directly to you. I have also set aside a plate and silverware, so that you can sit at your desk and eat comfortably.
Fine then. I guess you thought of everything. But I bet you forgot that I am lactose intolerant and there is milk in the food I ordered.
No, ma'am. I purchased some medication so that you can eat your lunch without any problems. The medication will make it so that you can enjoy your food without suffering. It's in the top drawer of your desk.
Fine. You did okay this time. But you'll eventually screw something up. I cannot wait for you to slip up.
She was such a miserable person to me, but to everyone else she was sweet as sugar. Most people knew that this was all a ruse, though, and that deep down that she hated everyone. Although she was only ever mean and cruel to people who were lower in the company's hierarchy than her. Her favorite thing in the world to do was to fire people, though, and she would go out of her way to find reasons to let people go, which meant that I had to always be vigilant to never screw up, so that she never had a reason to target me. There were even times that she would say racial slurs to me in hopes that I would talk back to her, but I always bit my tongue and kept smiling, because I knew that she was only doing so that she could claim that I was a terrible employee, which of course I wasn't. There was even one day when some important paperwork was misplaced and she tried to blame me for it.
Kim, where is the Peterson file?
I placed it in your inbox last night, before I went home for the day. Perhaps you misplaced it or the cleaning staff moved it aside.
Stop lying, Kim. You people are always so quick to blame someone else. I honestly don't know why you were hired. Your kind are just so dishonest. It's a wonder how they haven't caught you stealing or even sleeping on the job yet.
I would never do such a thing.
Your kind always does. It's only a matter of time before you show how much of a thief you are. Well, don't you get too comfortable.
I can assure you that I'm not a thief.
I'm sure that you'll give me a good reason to fire you soon.
I didn't know what to do other than continue to bite my tongue and keep working to the best of my abilities. As if that wasn't bad enough, there were times when she would even hurt me. I had to make her coffee whenever she asked, and she would sometimes purposefully spill it on me. She would pretend that it was on accident and would apologize, but the fact that she kept doing it made me know that it was entirely on purpose. That, and she would have a very evil grin on her face as if she enjoyed hurting me. I very much wondered how long I would have to put up with working under her and dreaded spending the rest of my career being tormented by this evil woman. However, I did not have to wait very long. Because within a year after I started working at the company, Deborah came in one day and told all of us that she was leaving the company because she had gotten a job with a rival company. She made such a huge scene about how she was going to get more money and that all of us were incredibly stupid and no longer worth her time. The day after she left was a day of celebration for everyone that worked around her. Amazingly, Stephen, Deborah's former boss, came and addressed us and told us that he would be temporarily taking over for Deborah until she could be replaced. For the next few months, I worked directly under Stephen, and he was very impressed with my abilities. So much so that one day he came up to me and offered me Deborah's job. I was surprised and excited and was very quick to accept. It didn't take long for me to really begin to prosper in my new position, and those people that were now under me prospered as well. More than a few of them told me that they loved working under me. For a long time, things went very well. I heard rumors that Deborah did wonderful at first. She used the secrets about our company to make herself look great at her new job, but eventually she began acting like her old self. It didn't take long for people there to begin complaining about her, and unlike our company. The new one that she was at had a zero tolerance for such things, and within a few months of starting there, she was fired. She put out resumes to all of our rival companies, but got denied by all of them, and then finally was forced to come back and try to get her old job back. Stephen came to me and asked me what I thought about Deborah coming back to the company.
Hey Kim, listen, I have a hard question to ask you.
Hey Stephen, is everything okay?
Well, yes and no. I wouldn't be asking this, but she has experience that could be useful. Deborah has applied to work for us again, but I'll be honest, I really don't want to hire her. But she could know a few things about our competitors that would be useful.
Oh, I say that we hire her. In fact, I want her to work under me. The smile that spread across Stephen's face told me that he understood what I had in mind. The next day, Deborah came to work and had a very smug look on her face when she saw me.
Oh, look who still works here. I guess that they haven't figured out that someone like you has no business working here. Well, now that you are working under me again, I'll be sure that you wish that you had found a job somewhere else.
Oh, that's where you are wrong. You see, you are working for me, not the other way around. You left this company, and it was only by my generosity that we hired you back.
There is no way that is true.
Oh, but it is. But don't worry. I'll treat you very well. I was, of course, lying, but Deborah was in much a similar position that I had been when I had first been hired. She was out of options and was unable to get a job with anyone else, and was forced to work here or get a job in a fast food restaurant. At first, I only gave her more work than she could handle. Then I made her work overtime for no pay. Then later, I added some more responsibilities, such as being on call for some of our more difficult clients. It didn't take long for the stress and pressure to get her to crack. While handling an on-call from a client at 3 a.m. one night, she blew a gasket and screamed at them and then hung up. The next day, I received a complaint from the client and listened to a recording of how she handled the call, and I knew that I had enough ammunition to write her up. I also knew at some point that I would push her far enough for her to quit, but I wanted to keep punishing her and mistreating her until she did. And so I called her into my office to discipline her. Hello, Deborah. I know that getting calls early in the morning can be stressful, but you must always keep a level head.
Stressful? You've done this on purpose. You know just how much work you've assigned to me. How dare you?
How dare I do what? I'm sorry, Deborah, if you can't handle it. You are, after all, a senior agent. You should be able to handle a larger workload than someone new to the firm. You could always quit. I was goading her. I wanted her to quit. But what she did next was even better. She screamed out in fury and lunged at me. She kept trying to slap me, but I managed to put my hands up and block her. People all around us watched in horror as she tried over and over again to hit me, until finally I had enough and I kneed her in the stomach and then punched her as hard as I could in the face. She went down hard and was nearly unconscious. That was when security showed up and detained her until the police could arrive. I, of course, fired her on the spot and pressed charges against her for assaulting me. Sadly, she didn't go to prison for the attack, but she was forced to do 2,000 hours of community service, and I had a restraining order put against her, so that if she ever came anywhere near me again, that she would then be forced to go to prison. The good news, though, was that, along with being fired, she had cemented the fact that she would never be able to work for any reputable company ever again. She was seen as a lunatic and was forced to get a job flipping burgers at a fast food joint on the other side of town. As if that wasn't bad enough, she also lost her house because she could no longer afford the payments on it, and now lives in a small house along with 5 other roommates. I later heard she used the N-word on a customer, not knowing he was in the military, and she was well beaten. Part of me feels bad because she will never be able to retire and will be flipping burgers until she dies. But hey, it's what she deserves. As for me, well, after all the drama around Deborah faded, Stephen promoted me again, and it didn't take long for me to work my way up. And when Stephen retired, I was given his job, and I am now the general manager of the whole firm. It pays very well, and I live quite comfortably. So I guess it all worked out in the end. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.